time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits, whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts. This is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. It is Wednesday. Well, technically it's Tuesday, but this is the Wednesday episode of the Get Home Safe podcast. The weekly Wednesday weigh-in with Bill Barnes is upcoming. We are kind of throwing together an episode here last minute. We weren't going to record until Wednesday, but Bill became available. That's all I'll say here in a small window. So I decided to drop what I was doing, of course, for Bill and, throw this episode together. So some technical difficulties here. Bill's been waiting for me, so we got to get right to him. I got to tell you, a new computer is on its way, and I can't wait for that new computer because this one is ancient. It gives me nothing but problems. It's time to move on to bigger and better things. So thank you all who have bared with me through all this for 270 something episodes of a bad computer. But anyway, Bill Barnes is waiting for me, so I want to get right into it with him. Lots to talk about today. More news in Afghanistan, the recall, the just some craziness in sports, all kinds of things. Bill's always active, right, in his posts on social media and things. So we're going to get right into it today. Let me jump into it right now with the one and only Bill Barnes. It's the middle of the week. It's Wednesday. That means it's time for Bill Barnes on the weekly Wednesday weigh-in. The retired police officer and retired college baseball umpire joins us every week for very strong opinions and very random thoughts. Once again, here is the one and only Bill Barnes. Okay, as a reminder, today's episode of the Get Home Safe podcast could contain explicit content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion.
My ass, it will. Guarantee you.
Listener discretion is advised. Bill Barnes, what's going on, man? Hey, put the ball in play for us. Where are you? Where are you? What can you tell us?
I'm in the middle of Utah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm at a truck stop, enjoying life, and on just kind of sitting here on hold, and that's just some of the breaks in life you get. Sometimes things happen beyond your control, and you just have to wait for things to right themselves, and you just sit on your ass and let time go by and think about how fucked up the world is and keep moving. How's that?
That's all you can do, man. That is all you can do.
My son, huh? Okay.
All right. Sorry, Bill. Brief problems there. Anyway, go ahead. What you were telling us.
The last 24 hours of my life has been a problem. Now I have to continue with you. But anyway, yeah. So what were we talking about before? I'm wearing sunglasses, because my eyes look like shit. Because I've been on the road now for over 24 hours, and sleeping in a car is not conducive to one's better looks. So therefore, the glasses are going to remain on. It's not that really sunny here. Actually, it's kind of drab and overcast, kind of like the whole state of Utah. But that's the way it's going to be.
Oh, man. Yeah, you've been to Utah a time or two. As a matter of fact, you and I were there together a couple of times.
I can tell you this, where we're at is right down the 15 freeway from Provo.
Okay. Not far from there.
Also Orem. You were there with me, right?
I was there in Utah Valley with you and BYU one time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we ran the state of Utah out of whiskey there. They didn't have much, so we had to take advantage of it.
Right. Well, after this trip, I'm going to run the state of California out of whiskey. In fact, the plane ride home could be real fun.
Oh, you will be able to fly home. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're giving us your whereabouts and your location, Bill, Mr.
Well,
Secret
that's all I'm
Agent.
giving you.
Okay.
Just take a guess. Utah's a big, wide open, barren place. So.
Gotcha, Bill. Well, you have, I guess, some time on your hands. I appreciate you doing this. You did this one other time when you did it on like a drive home late on a Wednesday night. So this, at least you get to sit comfortably. What is on your mind? There's plenty of things going on that I want to talk about, but I'll let you lead things off.
Well, it's your show, so you tell me.
Okay.
I'm just your slapdick guest that comes on once a week and makes a complete ass of himself. So go right ahead.
Sure. Well, I think let's start off with probably something the most important, and it's rather somber. We knew that some Marines were killed, not just Marines, but 11 Marines, 1 Army, 1 Navy. I read their names on the end of Monday's show, and Bill, it's tragic to me that these individuals gave their lives at the very end of this retreat out of Afghanistan. But you look at their ages. I mean, a lot of them were 20 years old. And what really hits home for you and me is that 3 of these individuals were from our backyard. One from Norco, one from Rancho Cucamonga, your home city, and one from La Quinta out in the desert. I mean, 3 of the 13 from right here, Bill.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's not forget that when you sign up for military service, believe it or not, you may have to go into a forward area, and you may have to fight. You may have to, arm yourself, and you may have to defend your country. We all get that. However, in this particular case, it's my opinion that these kids, and they are kids, these kids were from brand new Marines from the Camp Pendleton area, were probably on a boat somewhere, and they were summoned to go stand at an airport and assume some type of guard duty with very limited briefing, very limited knowledge on who's who, on what's what, and they were just put there, and in a hasty manner, to which from the president on down had a poor plan, a poor executed retreat plan, to where it's like some pissed off husband getting angry in the middle of the night and grabs some underwear and a beer and leaves the house, right? Tells his old lady he's going out for a loaf of bread and he's never coming back again. I mean, that's kind of the haphazard way in which this whole fucking debacle was planned out. And yeah, we knew we were going to leave Afghanistan. We had been there 20 some years. Evidently the mission had been accomplished according to all these presidents to thwart terrorism from that country. Well, all that's fine and dandy. However, you're there 20 years, you build some relationships, you train an army, and you bring a lot of contract workers in, you bring a lot of people in, you form relationships with people, and all of a sudden you're just gonna get the hell out of Dodge and leave them there and have a very, very, very bad plan to leave. And that's basically what happened. And the last plane went out yesterday. And I think there's probably still people there.
Yeah.
There has to be.
Yeah.
And
that have been abandoned.
And I know we left an arsenal of weaponry there, which in my opinion is completely almost an act of treason to do that by the president, to allow that to happen. At least we had the wherewithal in Vietnam to throw all this shit in the water to it where it can't be used or blow it up.
Can I give you?
Go ahead.
Can I give you some numbers, Bill, that'll just infuriate you? I heard this on the Clay and Buck show. These are their numbers that they ran, and they have the sourced or whatever. These numbers are mind-boggling. 22,000 Humvees, 8,000 trucks, 169 armored personal carriers, 42,000 pickup trucks and SUVs, 358,000 assault rifles, 64,000 machine guns, 33 Black Hawk helicopters, 33 Mi-17 helicopters, 4 transport planes, and 23 jets. And they ran the numbers. basically the if for the taxpayers of America, if basically it was about $250 per person that we just donated to the Taliban.
Well, unless of course you're a California resident and you don't pay that shit. The Newsom pays it for you. So we paid probably $750 for everything here in California.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course.
Two things come to mind. Number one, that's just completely unacceptable. All right. Number two, the next left-wing liberal Democratic asshole that says they're coming for my guns, I'm going to stick a gun right in their fucking forehead and say, try it. Okay. Because how dare they say that when they leave that kind of arsenal behind?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay? I mean, you can't have it both ways.
No, and
but they think, but they
can.
seem to think they can.
They try.
That's their narrative. That's
Well, and some argue, well, the technology, they don't know how to fly Blackhawks, properly. And I saw they were hanging someone from a Black Hawk helicopter the other day, hanging him as a public executioner, mocking someone. So someone's flying that helicopter. They
have people, either the Russians are teaching them how, someone's teaching them how, or they're being self-taught, or God only knows who's doing it. But they're going to learn. Trust me. Mm-hmm. They will learn. Just and we might want to mention the 51 service dogs that were left behind that we just found out about.
Yeah, where's PETA? Where's the people for the ethical treatment of animals? Where's these animal rights activists? At least throw up your arms for leaving behind dogs, because some people do feel that animals are more important than human beings. So where's the outcry? It is selective outrage, as always. No one cares about women's rights when women are getting raped and killed over there. Animals are being left behind. Who knows what's going to happen to them? I mean, all these groups here in America that just preach injustice and this and that, they turn a blind eye to other things going on around the world.
Well, of course, because they're mainly Democrats, and they still believe in Joe Biden. And here's my thought. I was thinking about, I had a lot of time to think the last few hours, and here's my take on this. I can't help but think that somehow the Chinese are involved. The Chinese are pushing Biden's buttons. Someone's controlling that man, okay? Because he is like a remember the show The Thunderbirds back in the day, and they had those puppeteers? He walks like a fucking puppet, all right? Like somebody's pulling strings on him. He's a feeble old man, and he's even in his press conferences, he's saying, I was told to choose so-and-so. I was told not to take questions. Someone's programming this guy. I can't help but think that China has such a stranglehold on that administration. And if what they're doing, if they're trying to bring us to our knees, then they're doing a great job, because I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but once they have Biden out of office, they're going to have the perfect person in the White House now as president that will go to her knees and please the Chinese.
Rim shot, Bill Barnes. Wow. Well said. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll move on, but the 13 individuals, I listed them on Monday, but Bill, three again from our backyard. I want to say their names.
And if there's outrage there. I mean, some of the mothers of these kids, when they went to meet with, when they received the remains of their sons and daughters, evidently a few of them had some choice words for Biden. And I'm glad. I think that's great. And all that dumb guy could do is stand there and look at his watch 5 times.
How oh my goodness, how ridiculous was that, Bill? I got something I want to read to you regarding that, but he looks at his watch as there's coffins on the runway.
Yes.
What the?
Yes.
What are we doing?
He's got to be humiliated and embarrassed. There's enough of his mind. There's enough of him cognitively. There has to be, that he knows that he fucked up and that he is somewhat responsible for this, or he's completely clueless of it, and he wants to know what time Jeopardy's on so he can get back to the Oval Office and watch. I have no clue. I'm completely baffled by this whole thing.
I saw this and I thought of you, Bill, that I'm sure you can comment on maybe each one of these. But this was 10 times you should never look at your watch. Let's start at number 10. At your job. Number 9, at your child's birth. Number 8, at your kid's baseball game. Number 7, during sex. Number 6.
Well, I do just to see. Jesus Christ, that lasted this long? Holy cow.
I knew you'd comment on that one. Number 6, on a first date.
Sometimes, because you want to know when the hell can I get out of here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Number 5, at your kid's graduation. That was number 5. Number 4, at your wedding. Number 3, at church. I've done that a time or two, I'll be honest. Number 2, at your kid's recital. And number 1 reason to never look at your watch, at the airport while they are bringing out 13 coffins that hold the remains of 13 brave soldiers whose deaths you are responsible for. Number 1 answer.
I concur completely. Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Yeah. And you'll notice I don't wear a watch. So I take that right out of my playbook, thank God, because I'd probably be guilty of a bunch of those. But I certainly would not be guilty of number 1. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, hell no. Nobody should. No one in their right mind, which is the problem. You know what I mean? So I just so disrespectful. So, and then the mothers, like you were saying, the phone calls I've heard, that little write-up you sent me. I mean, they're out for blood. Some of these moms, rightfully so, are just pissed, and they're not the only ones. There's everyday citizens like you and me who are furious as well about this. Anyway, any more comments regarding that?
No.
Okay.
I just think it was just, I don't know what the haste of this whole thing was. I don't know what the hurt. We've been there 20 years. Why are we going to just spend 2 weeks I mean, there things like this you plan. I mean, you can't tell me that we have such weak military leaders now that did not give Biden advice and input on how to do this right. Okay. Understandably, he has appointed a lot of his personal slapdicks to be on his cabinet, but there's got to be some very skilled military people that know how to do this. And if there's not, then shame on us. But I just don't believe that. So I do believe it's all him, or there's someone that's controlling him. Who? Is it Pelosi? Is it Schumer? Is it Obama? Who the fuck knows? Who knows?
Someone's pushing the buttons. Yeah, someone's behind the curtain, right? Definitely.
Right. Is it Obama? Is it Obama getting back at all of his things that he tried to do that was thwarted by a Republican Senate? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
First of all, you don't tell this whole releasing of information. We're going to leave by this date. Well, all you did is just told the enemy. You just don't give people information. Bill, you were in law enforcement. I mean, you don't give information that can potentially get out to the wrong people who want to do you harm, and then they can use it.
You give out false information that will help you in your mission, and that was not accomplished one bit. There's everything was just a complete shit sandwich on this entire thing. Complete 100%. We didn't get it. We didn't get our people out. It was done. We got in bed with the Taliban. We were taking orders from them.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Things are totally backwards.
That's crazy. It's nuts.
Taking orders from them. And the spokesman for Biden, whether it's Jen Psaki or the other, who is the Secretary of State or whatever, that idiot, talking about, well, we're hopeful that, the Taliban's going to do the right thing, basically asking all these like permission to do things. It's like, what world are we in now?
Well, we're in a democratic world, and we're seeing what it's doing for us. It's putting us right to where we are not acting as a superpower whatsoever. We're acting almost like a third world nation and retreating in the fashion that we are. There's got to be some changes quick.
Yeah.
And the first one, I'm hoping that'll send a message, is that we get Newsom out September 14th here in California.
Yeah, it's that is hopeful, and I think with I think he's feeling the heat a little bit. I think he and the Democratic left, they want to definitely issue some severe mandates because California was among the worst. They're clearly holding off. And I think it has a lot to do with the election. I think if they feel, or the recall election, I feel that if they put out some severe mandates, vaccine requirements, whatever you want to call them, masks outdoors, if they push that, I think they know that they will lose the recall election. So they're holding off. They're going to hold off, get elected or pass through it, and then they're going to come out with a vengeance. Those are my thoughts.
Well, we'll see by what, if they survive this, by what margin. If they survive it pretty well, then you might see some severe stuff. If it's close, there could be a hold off until the regular election next year, which Newsom's going to have to go through. So, I don't know. I mean, those have been proven to be very unpopular, even with Democrats. Although there are some hardcore Democrats that will back him no matter what and be in his corner because they feel that he's doing the right thing and that he's being a protector. Well, those folks are usually the ones that are in high places and have armed guards and have big fences and electric gates and big dogs to scare people off, just like he does. The common folk, you and me, we don't have that luxury. We have to go out and swim with the bodily fluids every day and hope that we get from point A to point B without some homeless asshole throwing a brick through our window or somebody sticking a knife in our ribs and robbing us. That doesn't apply to those folks. They can do whatever they want with comfort. That's why it's the Democrats' agenda, Gavin Newsom's agenda, to eliminate the middle class. You're going to have the haves and the have-nots, and the middle class is going to become the have-nots. And it's not going to affect them. We're going to be their minions. We're going to be their peons. That's what they want. And I'm hoping that there's enough people in California that can recognize that and say enough of this bullshit. Let's get him out of there, and let's get somebody in there that at least is talking the talk, and in my opinion, will make some changes.
Yeah, and just because the guy's on your team doesn't mean you can't, see him for what it is. I mean, you and I have umpired with a lot of guys that were on our team, but we couldn't stand. And it's like, you don't want to work with that guy. Gavin Newsom has pissed off a ton of people, including Democrats. And honestly, Bill, it's sad to say, but it's California. We're depending on a lot of Democrats here to step up.
Yes, we are. We're depending on a lot of small business owners that are Democrats that thought Gavin Newsom was going to do them some good righteous moves when he was elected, and he ended up shitting all over them by having them either lose their business or have to take out these loans that they're eventually going to have to pay back. And instead of just staying open and practicing a little bit of caution, but just to blanket close everything like he did. No outdoor seating, no indoor seating, takeout only. And in some cases, nothing for all that time. They did this the ass backwards way. I mean, you remember back when this thing started, they shut down schools, right? The first wave of the COVID-19 novel virus, whatever the fuck they called it. They shut down schools right away. Well, it wasn't affecting kids then. This new Delta variant, wherever the hell it came from, it's the one that's now affecting kids. If you're going to shut down schools, it should have been now. Now they're forced to keep them open because they don't want that stigma of closing down schools again, right? And we can't get a vaccine for kids up to 12 years old. It's 12 and over, or 16.
But so far, yeah. The overwhelm, again, kids might be getting it more now. But whereas the original, they weren't, and okay, Delta, whatever, maybe it's more contagious. Kids aren't dying. They're acting like kids are dropping like flies left and right, let among other older people. Young people, for the most part, do not suffer from this thing, don't even have symptoms really. And it's just, I feel like we're going in circles round and round again with some of this stuff.
Well, again, their argument is it is the unvaccinated that are um, causing this pandemic to keep alive, and that if there'd be more people vaccinated, we could achieve herd immunity to where it wouldn't be as damaging. Now, everybody has their right to either get the jab or not get the jab. You know how I feel about it. I'll be the first one to line up when they say get your third one. I will, okay? Because I have confidence in the scientists. I have confidence in the medical people that have made this drug. I have zero confidence in the politicians that are putting spin on it, okay? Harris, Biden put spin on it when they said if it's delivered under the Trump regime, we won't take it. Well, they're a bunch of hypocrite fucking liars because they took it. All right. So, and then, even Trump the other day said, hey, get the vaccine. And then people kind of booed and he says, well, I understand, so even it was developed under his watch. He's the one who pushed for it. So I don't buy it at all that everybody's blaming all these Trumpsters for not being the ones
it's ridiculous.
That are resistant to the vaccine. There probably are, but the vast majority of the folks that aren't getting it and where it's spreading is in minority, shitty, fucked up, poor communities. They're the ones that are spreading it. Like, for instance, in the LA County schools, the LA City School District, predominantly a minority district. That's where the kids are getting sick. That's where they're threatening to have to close schools. I'm not being racist here. I'm just giving statistics. All right. Your higher affluent areas are not being affected because those folks, for whatever reason, decided to get the jab.
Yeah, some people go get it who want it, and some of the low income communities, man, it's not like they're not able to get it. They just don't go get it.
And it's like it's not available to them. I mean, they've got mobile damn vans going around handing them out like welfare checks, for Christ's sake.
You're gonna
go get your shot.
There's options. If you want to get it, there's ways to get it. So what the government needs to understand is the people who've wanted to get it have gotten it. So stop with the mandates. Stop trying to shove it down everyone's throat. I saw this bill. Now you've been censored on Facebook a time or two. I think social media is out of control with their censorship. Every little, you see all the posts with the COVID vaccine information and blah, blah, blah. I saw this and I chuckled. This was on Instagram and you had to read it a couple times. It said, I 100% support mandatory vacations for everyone. If anyone refuses them, they should be forced. That got flagged with a COVID-19 information disclaimer, because if you read it fast enough, it looks like vaccinations or whatever. To me, that just proves how absolutely ridiculous the censorship is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever.
But you know what? We keep on using it, don't we? We keep on using it as a platform to put our information out because everybody's got it. And that's a way that you can kind of, vent a little bit. That's what I do. I don't think people are I do it to vent. I do it because I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
But I do wish some people happy birthdays every once in a while, and I put a like on a girl who's in a bikini who looks good. I'll put a like on that. Of course.
Well done.
That's what they're out there for. They want the attention. I'll give it to them. But most of the time I'm there to vent, to put out stuff that pisses me off.
Yeah, it's better to put it there than go out in the streets and start shouting. Because
I try to do that too.
Yeah. Well, I know you've been critical of when certain people are released from prison. Bill, did you hear the news about Sirhan? I
think it's great. I think it's fantastic.
Really?
Let him out.
Really?
Let him out.
Wow. Why? What's your reasoning?
When you got Bobby Kennedy's two idiotic sons going up to the parole hearing and agreeing with it, you know what? Let him out.
Wow. What was the reasoning? Was it just insanity? What?
I don't know. They figured he apologized. So he apologized. So we accept his apology. And one of them thinks there was a second gunman involved and, all this other crazy crap. Again, guess what? Guess what the Kennedys have in common? They're all Democrats. All right.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? I should be a little more, understanding. Their father was killed. He was walking through the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel, and Sirhan pulled out a gun. He shot him in the head. And Rayford Johnson and Rosie Greer grabbed the gun out of his hand and held him down until the police, who he did not want there, he did not want LAPD protection, by the way, during that whole thing. They had to call, and the police had to roll out like a regular radio call and handle this thing. So maybe if he would have not been so trusting of bad people back then, he might have been okay. Who knows? But again, you know what? Let him out.
Well, at least they're consistent in the fact that some people, when they, most people, the politicians want to let out all these murderers and stuff. They apparently they've murdered this guy's dad, and they're like, or Robert Kennedy, and they're like, yeah, let him out. He served us. He's sorry. He's sorry. That's a great message to murderers out there.
Well, I'd like to see. I want to see him be able to get it. He's been incarcerated now for 53 years, if my math is correct.
Yeah, it was 69, right?
I want to see Sirhan get released. I want to see him try to operate a cell phone. I want to see him use a bank card. I want to see him try to order an Uber. I want to see him get on the internet. I want to see him do all the things that Joe Biden probably can't do either.
Well said. Well said. I couldn't believe that. Yeah, one of the most recent assassins released.
And you got your idiotic DA in LA County, Gascon, who's under recall also, and should be recalled. He didn't oppose it. He didn't send any of his DAs up there. I guess the policy in the LA County DA's office is that you are not, that he does not send anybody to parole hearings.
Wow. No
DAs go and represent the county that prosecuted these people. So it basically went unopposed from the people of the county of Los Angeles who prosecuted them for the state of California. So there you go. He's a great representation of what a DA should be. He is nothing more than a public defender. In fact, he does a better job being a public defender than the public defender does.
Oh man. I just tell you, LA County has just some of the best leadership out there. Wow, that is just outstanding. So he's going to be on that recall ballot or no?
He is on a separate recall.
Okay.
He's got his own recall going, and it's only for people in LA County. So you live in LA County now, don't you? Or
yes,
you
I do. My ballot's on the way.
Sign the fucking recall, Matt.
Oh,
sign the recall.
Yeah. If I was a Democrat, I'd do it twice, but I'm Republican, and only I vote fairly. I'm kidding my Democratic friends out there.
No, they're all cheaters, Matt. They cheat. They cheat. How can 80 million people be so fucking stupid as to vote for Joe Biden?
Most popular president in U.S.
How
history.
Can 80 million people? Either they hated Trump that much, which I don't think is the case. I really don't. I think there was so much ballot box stuffing, manipulation, and guess what? Guess who's really good at that kind of shit? Guess who's really good at that kind of technological know-how? The Chinese are. Okay, the Chinese are taking over this country. Think about it. When you go to Arcadia, when you go to South Pasadena, when you go to sections of Glendora, good luck buying a house, because you're going to have the good people, the Chinese Americans come in, and they're going to, if the house is $1.5 million, they're going to bid $1.6 million just to get it without having to go into a bidding war. They're paying cash for shit, Matt. Cash.
Wow, that must be nice.
Okay. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. The people that I lease my house from, they are Chinese. They are fantastic landlords. I never see them. You know why? Because I pay them on time, and when a tree needs to be trimmed, I do it myself. When the garbage disposal gets clogged up, I don't do it, of course, but I get a handyman in there to do it. So if you just pay them money, they leave you the fuck alone. And that I think that's what we're doing to them, Matt, because we know that we are not as powerful as they are now, and they have kind of a little bit of a chokehold on us. And as long as they get their puppet Biden in there to run things and make things smooth for them, they're good with that.
Well, I think the theory has some evidence to it. I mean, there was a movie I saw, Some of All Fears. It was a Tom Clancy movie, and the bad guy, the plot, basically, he's like, you don't fight. I think he was a former Nazi or something. He was like, you don't fight Russia and America at the same time. You get them to fight each other and destroy each other. And I feel like China probably has said, we'll let them destroy each other. The left and, the Americans, on both sides of the aisle, let them destroy each other, and we'll pick up the scraps and take over that way without having to fire a shot. So,
well, they're not firing shots. They're just getting out their checkbook.
Yeah.
And I think we realized that Russia was the most overrated foe that we've ever come across. Okay. I really believe that. They talk big, they march, and they bring out all their big guns, and they march like a bunch of all that. But when have we ever had to really fight against them? We've had our presidents have gone head to head and all that. Back in Kennedy's day, Khrushchev pounded his shoe or whatever the fuck he did. That's back during the Cold War. Those days are long gone. All right. They're not the superpower we thought. They couldn't even invade Afghanistan. We did a better job in Afghanistan than they did. And we both had to, run and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
So, and then, so China is probably the world's most dominant force and country right now. Because, they're, like you say, they're not firing around, but, they're economically controlling us.
Big time.
And they want to continue to do that.
And with people like LeBron James doing their dirty work and just mocking and bashing America, not saying one word about China, one negative word. I mean, it's as clear as day if you just open your eyes to what's going on.
Once again, he's got guards. He's got a big fence. He probably doesn't have dogs because he's probably afraid of them, but he's probably got a big fence and some guards. So, what does he care?
Yeah. I'm going to get into some random topics, Bill, kind of bounce around here, if you're cool with that. First of all, I think almost every problem we have in America right now can be summed up as just ungratitude. We have just ungrateful people all over the place that want to just point fingers. I'm oppressed for this reason. I sent you a video. I don't know if you watched it. Some young girl talking about heterosexual relationships and how women love to be with their oppressors. I'm like, we have so many non-issues in this country that we have to make up problems. We're constantly making up issues.
Of course we do. It's pathetic. It all started with the AYSO soccer generation. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a juice box. Whether you're dog shit or not, everybody's a champion. Well, guess what? Everybody's not a champion.
No.
All right. People win, people lose. Learn how to lose. People don't know how to lose. They're it's a society of everybody gets a piece of the pie. Look what California's doing. They're coming up with a system where they want everybody to get a minimum wage type paycheck, whether they work or not.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. Incentivize people to not get out there and work. Who comes up with this crap? Who comes up with, well, it'll help everybody? Well, no, but people need to help themselves. The only hand that should ever be there for you is the one at the end of your sleeve. Stop looking for handouts. We need to get back to work. We need to come on. I mean,
if you can't do it, it will be done for you. Or you simply decide to drop out and go build yourself a shack at the corner of La Cienega and the 10 freeway and fortify your little homeless palace and live happily ever after.
Yeah. Homeless palace.
Until some deranged former cop decides to drive his car through it and put an end to that shit.
I wonder what that would happen. I saw again random topics. You want to hear how corrupt Ivy League schools are? And I know you're not the most religious guy in the world, but Harvard hired an atheist as their chaplain. An atheist. I'm like, they will. We don't even need to go into that. They hate religion. They hate any idea of Christianity and our values and everything. But anyway,
okay. First of all,
help me understand that.
How can a chaplain? How can an atheist be a chaplain?
Oh God.
Okay. That's like saying Ray Charles is going to read the Pledge of Allegiance or read a poem, unless it's. I mean, come on.
We're backward. That shows you how backwards to me the left is, and you can argue, well, anything you want. What we did not get into, which I thought we were going to, maybe we'll save it for another time. The news that broke over the weekend about a police shooting. I don't know if you have comments on that, or are you going to wait on that? Police shooting at the Capitol.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you this is my take. Okay. I've investigated a few of those. All right. I've been around police shootings once or twice, trust me. And I know people in my former line of work that have, and we all kind of come to an agreement that, number one, that was a dog shit shooting, bad shooting, not justified, in my opinion. What you had is an unarmed female who had her side to the lieutenant who shot and killed her. Okay, she had no weapon. Okay, if that's a justified shooting, Matt, then you should have killed every son of a bitch that was breaking into the Capitol that day. If you can shoot her, you can shoot everybody else, and then some. Why her and why not anybody else?
So Lieutenant Michael Byrd.
This was a protest at any other brick and mortar building. Okay, when it comes right down to it. Yes, it's the Capitol. Yes, it's sacred. But God damn it, it's just a brick and mortar building like any other. Human beings, Americans coming in, which they shouldn't have done. I'm the first to say that was a bad idea.
They shouldn't have been there. We can't say it enough. They should not have been there.
I mean, this was just like Kent State back in 1970. The National Guard opening up on some unarmed student protesters about the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Okay. And why? Where's the outrage?
No. And Lieutenant Michael Byrd has been identified as the shooter. And Bill, you're former law enforcement. I'm just a dumb civilian. But one thing I noticed was that in most police shootings I've seen, and maybe it's taught, I don't know the terminology, but usually when someone is shot by the police, there's multiple rounds released, multiple rounds fired. And everyone's like, why'd they shoot him so much? It's like, that's just what happens usually. In this situation, he fired off one round.
Okay, what used to be called an accidental discharge back in my day, okay, and you could, it's an accident. But in this case, it could have been an accident, but it was a negligent discharge.
Okay.
It was negligent on his part to probably have his finger on the trigger like that, to where whatever spooked him, whatever got him to react like that, he fired. And like you say, it was one round, and he went, oh shit,
and he stopped. And if life was really in danger, if he felt that he was saving life, he's quoted as saying these things. He didn't fire any more shots, like to your point said. If that one round was justified, why wouldn't there have been more rounds? I think he realized what he did and said, I mean, I'm speculating, but I think we all have.
Well, and I'm just going to say it. If that was a protest at, gosh.
Well, how about burning down a police station? Burning down a police station. We saw that happen. That to me is just justified for shooting people.
And guess what? And guess what? The Minneapolis mayor called that police station. It's just a brick and mortar building.
Just brick and mortar.
Right. Okay. Well, they're all just brick and mortar.
Yeah. No kidding.
Okay? Now, I'm just going to say it. If that was a white cop that shot a black woman under those circumstances, look the fuck out. All right. Now, the roles were reversed. Are people afraid to say something? Are they afraid I think they are. They're afraid to just say it the way it was. They're afraid to say that this was wrong and this was kind of a bad situation. And it was a black lieutenant who shot a white unarmed woman. Okay. That's the facts of the case, period, end of story. Okay. Period, full stop, as our good governor says. Okay. Now, I think that the powers to be at the Capitol, whose house they were protecting, they made this thing, they cleaned it up. They made it look pretty. They drank it really pretty, and they made it go away. All right.
Can I ask a question? Why was this kept secret for 8 months?
Because they're the the buck stops there in that house, and they're the lawmakers. They're the ones that control the media. They're the ones that control the public hysteria, and they wanted it to kind of simmer down and let the water kind of dilute a little bit before that came out.
I think they were trying to piece it together somehow. Like it didn't fit a certain agenda. There's reason why they waited 8 months.
And do you think maybe they secretly paid the family a shitload of money and told them to kind of be quiet about it, bitch a little bit, but don't go crazy, because here, tell us when to stop with the zeros.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, it was something to think about.
Well, it's just interesting to me. I mean, right. It's funny how the news that came out right away. Oh, a police officer was beaten to death by a fire extinguisher. No, that actually did not happen, but that was front page for days after the whole thing. And then this identity of the officer is kept quiet forever. Whereas, in police shootings, I mean, they identify the police officer within minutes, it seems like, just to be like.
And another thing which you have to understand on this too, Matt, is these Capitol cops and these Capitol police, they're not walking a beat down in the heart of DC. They're patrolling the Capitol.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
And I'm not one to badmouth anybody in my profession or former profession, but the fact of the matter is, their workload is quite light. They do a lot of pointing to where a restroom is, pointing to where this hallway is. Yes, ma'am. How are you today? They're very, very public relation oriented. Now, when things go to shit on them like this, I don't think they're trained for such anarchy, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Was there some panic there? Probably.
Yeah. And just so people know, I mean, they are not the Secret Service. They are Capitol Police. It's their own, and it's not DC police. It is their own separate jurisdiction or whatever. So yeah, this was unprecedented, of course, but still, there's a lot of, I don't know. It's very odd. There's a lot of fishiness to it. And
the other thing is, perhaps the powers to be inside that house figured, well, because he did this was like a warning shot per se, and it stopped a lot of the shit. Maybe that was the one round fired, put kind of
Well, he fired. I mean, it was through a closed door, right? Or she was crawling through a window or something. Didn't he not even see who was on the other side? Or do we not know that?
I don't know for sure, but I do know that. I mean.
Well, let's go here. And we've talked about this already, and we'll just be brief, but the whole Brianna Taylor shooting. Okay. The boyfriend was firing rounds through the closed door. The police answered back, hit Brianna Taylor. There could be more to the story, whatever, but basically everyone was up in arms about that she died, even though her boyfriend's the one firing rounds and who fired the first shot, and the cops fired through a door they couldn't see at. Okay. It's very similar to me in this situation. But
except for there's no rounds being fired, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No rounds coming.
You can't even, you know what? This would be a bad shooting, even if you were at home in your house and someone's coming through your window and you shot and killed them. That would still be very, very iffy. And really? God forbid you're a cop in the county of LA and you do that to some crackhead who's coming through your window. You know what? The DA in that county would probably more than likely prosecute.
Sure. No, can you, I mean, that's kind of an example, but we've been on here and defended a lot of police shootings. You've given your expertise and such. I mean, what's an example of a bad shooting that you knew of? I don't know, a fellow colleague that you can share, or maybe you don't wish to share, but just an example like that.
My job when I did these was the criminal aspect of it, whether the shooting was criminal or not. And for a police officer to be held criminally liable for something, is way above and beyond what is tactically, morally, or ethically unacceptable. All right. So there were many shootings that I saw, that I investigated, that were tactically, perhaps ethically, and a little morally suspect, but criminally they were fine, because your state of mind, the suspect was armed, you had no idea, you feared for your safety and those others around you, great bodily injury, et cetera, you were justified in shooting. Now, was it kind of, twisted a little bit here and there? Perhaps. So that's the line there. Now, if you're an internal affairs or force investigations type investigator, you come out and you investigate the tactics of the shooting, you can pick those apart. Okay. You can pick those apart and open your department and your officer up for liability, or you can, do what you can and work hard to make sure that shooting was in fact within policy and reasonable.
Interesting. Okay. No, that's all good information. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about that here in the future. A couple more things, Bill, will get you out of here in a timely manner. Just random stuff. This comes up every few months, it seems like. Offensive mascots. They went after the Notre Dame Fighting Irish here recently, which we never thought they would, but it's called a movement for a reason. It never stops. What are some offensive mascot names out there that either are currently out there, or let's create some offensive mascots?
One comes to mind is the Maine Black Bears.
Black Bear? Oh, the Maine, University of Maine. They're the Black Bears? Why can't they be all bears? Why are they specific?
I think they're called the Maine Black Bears, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
Or you got the what was Wake Forest? What were they?
The Demon Deacons. The Demon
Deacons. There you go. They're devil worshippers.
Yeah. Exactly. The Duke Blue Devils. I've never seen a devil that's blue, but I mean,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's
a Catholic school, by the way.
Is it? Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, hell, if you wanted to get really strange and weird, you could go after the Trojans, the USC Trojans.
You said they were very offensive.
I mean, what comes to mind when you think of Trojans?
Well, bad football and maybe a few other things.
Yeah.
Bad performance.
I mean,
it's called the Trojan horse for a reason. The Greeks, when they took down Troy, those Trojans, they just,
and I think the guy on they don't ride the horse anymore, do they?
Traveler?
Didn't they deem that to be animal abuse?
And animal abuse to ride a horse?
Ride the horse? I don't know.
Check your sources there.
Well, probably the last couple of years due to COVID, we don't have the horse.
Oh, yeah, the horses do spread COVID. I did hear that. Yeah, it's very deadly. That's where the Delta variant came from. Is Traveler, the Trojan horse? Absolutely. Yeah, Bill. Hey, just got to give a shout out. I know you commented your Real Hondo Prep cares, maybe 49-0 week one.
Yeah, you prep people run up the score on those poor guys.
Hey, we kept it under 50. What are you talking about?
Jesus Christ, come on. What kind of, I hear all these things. Rio Hondo Prep. We demand sportsmanship. We're civil human beings. We're good scholarly athletes, and you run up the score on these poor kids from Pasadena.
Oh yeah, none of them are poor. Let's put that to bed. They are not poor kids from Pasadena. They're wealthy kids from Pasadena.
Well, they're obviously inferior in football, because if the well trained studs from Rio Hondo Prep can run 49 on them, then they must be really, really, really bad.
Yeah, it was ugly from the beginning. Couldn't have been a better game. And hey, Rio stopped scoring. They put the second string in there, and they got to that running clock and then respectfully let the game end.
if you say so.
I'd say so. Hey, Bill, we know you. We know you love to stay informed about prep sports over there. So I'll keep.
Well, when am I gonna? Since I'm like the voice of, since this is like a real Hondo prep podcast, all these prep kids that don't swear and don't drink and don't do this and don't do that, for one day a week they get out. They live vicariously through me, through my horrible way of speaking and devilish ways that I am. When am I going to be able to go out and flip a coin for one of their games? So all 15 spectators there can
15.
see
No, there's some people. Tell you what, let's say, so they have 6 home games this year. 6. So they've already played 1. I'll see what I can do. Bill.
Now that I'm going to be evicted from my condo because I brought up my Chinese landlords, and what else? Now that I've just filleted myself out there, I'm probably gonna, I'll probably be asking the guy at La Cienega and the 10 freeway for a room before long.
I'll take a Friday off and we'll go to a game, and I could just see you drinking it up, man. Like the master of ceremonies. What is that? The Rose Parade, Rose Bowl. You'd be out there waving to the crowd. And joining us from the Get Home Safe podcast, retired police officer Bill Barnes will flip the coin tonight. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Just the booze will be rampant.
Just a matter of time.
That's the heathen that my husband listens to, and he gets, I can just hear it.
Oh, you got to live vicariously through you, as you mentioned, Bill. That's all it is. See, kids. Hey, kids, live a certain way, or you end up like this guy, right? That's how you need to use it.
Sitting inside a Chevy Malibu on a Tuesday afternoon in the middle of Utah. Life gets no better.
Here's what I want our listeners to do next week or the next few weeks. I want you to send us some current offensive mascots. The obvious ones are the Indians and the Braves and this and that. And I'm saying offended in quotations. And also, let's come up with some that are offensive. I think that would be a lot of fun, within reason, people. Within reason.
How about, where's the Me Too movement with the Oregon State Beavers?
Oh, Bill. Well, we gave explicit content. Never mind. I'm
just asking a question.
You are. You're right. Where's the consistency? I'm with you, Bill.
Right. Come on. I'm looking out for everybody.
You always are. Let's put as we send you off, Bill. You said you didn't like this guy. Ed Asner passed away recently.
He lived. You know what? He's 91 years old. Good for him.
Okay. Good for him.
He was, for a vastly overweight, ultra liberal. He lived a long life.
Okay. You do have a heart, Bill Barnes. That wasn't
a tiny one. And you know what? He was, he had a couple good shows. I liked him. I didn't really like him on the Mary Tyler Moore show. I thought he was kind of a jackass, but I did like him as Lou Grant.
What was that? Sorry.
Well, that's the spinoff show, Lou Grant.
Oh, that was a show.
He played a newspaper editor in a fictional newspaper in Los Angeles back in the 70s, 80s, I think.
So I see, despite the liberal politics, I thought he kind of reminded me of you as you age, Bill, kind of that grumpy old man.
No, that's because he's an actor.
Okay.
He's an actor. I'm not an actor. This is me.
This is you. This is you. Yeah. Absolutely. Right. And one final thing, Bill, someone I think you and I absolutely love his work is Peter Ducey. I think he's for Fox News. He's in the press secretary or White House secretary. He hammers Jen Psaki with some great questions. I mean, really, he's the only one out there. When Trump was president, 95% of the people in the room are hammering him. And now Peter Ducey is the only one, if he's ever called on, of course, because, Biden has to have a sheet of the order of questions. But I love Peter Ducey's work. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah. He brings it.
I like him. Yeah, he's good.
He brings it, answers real questions. Ask real questions.
There are no true journalists anymore.
No.
I don't even know why they have a journalism program at schools, because it's put the bug in your ear and you look pretty or you look handsome and you repeat what's being told to you.
Yeah.
And you have no mind of the last investigative reporter was probably Geraldo, and you see what kind of jackass he is.
I studied journalism in school, and now look at me. I'm running a free podcast with a retired cop on a Tuesday afternoon who's in Utah or wherever you are. So it is what it is.
That's an argument for getting a rope and taking a stool and going to the bait.
Oh, Jesus. So you're just getting warmed up, and we probably we got to let you go here. I know you got places to go. Well, you're cracking yourself up, aren't you?
No, my partner even laughed at that one.
Yeah. I've seen his arm a time or two. So there in the background. So whoever he is.
I asked him if he wanted to come on. He says, "Don't drag me into your private hell."
Well, whoever he is, hello from the Get Home Safe podcast. Thank you for work. Hey, help get Bill home, will you? Get him home safe, because Bill's going to wander the wilderness in the desert there like an old man.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thanks.
All right, Bill. Thanks for joining us. Hey, seriously, get home safe. We hope this isn't our last podcast with you, being stranded in the desert or whatever.
Well, let's hope that that'd be nice. I can't guarantee anything.
Nope, you never can. Well, another edition of the Weekly Wednesday Weigh-In. We did it, Bill. We did it. We were able to do another episode. We'll talk to you next week, man.
Okay. Adios.
Well, thank you, Bill Barnes, joining us here on the podcast on a Tuesday out in the middle of nowhere, it sounds like, stranded, and said, well, Matt, are you available now? Let's record now. I got nothing but time. So, man, Bill Barnes goes to great lengths to get episodes out with us here on the Get Home Safe podcast of the Weekly Wednesday Weigh-In. I hope you guys truly appreciate Bill Barnes for him and his efforts. I know I put some effort out too, dropping everything I'm doing whenever Bill beckons, but it is what it is. So looking forward to next week. Send us in some topics, send us in some questions. Always fun to hear from you guys. And I'm serious about the mascot thing. Let's since mascots are being hunted down left and right, let's create some. Let's create some and have some fun with it within reason. No bad words. Let's just come on. I think this could be a lot of fun, and why not laugh about things? Anyway, enough for me today, guys. Thanks for joining us today in the Weekly Wednesday Weigh-In. Be sure to tune in on Friday. I'm having a conversation with John Lee Jr. Well, I had it already, but you guys will hear it on Friday. He's doing great work up there. Great theological discussion with him as well, talking about faith and family and everything crazy that's going on up in Oregon. So anyway, you guys don't want to miss that. And we'll be back for more episodes the following week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know our schedule by now. For those who have not already, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find us there. Our email address, gethomesafepodcast@yahoo.com. And of course, the podcast is on YouTube channel, Get Home Safe Podcast. Give us a like, give us a comment, whatever. We like the interaction. We've seen a few out there. It helps stimulate conversation, content. We love hearing from you guys. And I see how many people listen, of course, but it's always nice to hear from who is exactly listening. And I'm very surprised at times as to who it is. I kind of have an idea, but every now and then I do get surprised by some of the listeners out there. It's like, oh, wow, you listen. Thanks so much. Anyway, enough from me, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be with us on Friday. I'm telling you, great conversation with John Lee Jr. You don't want to miss it. He's back on the podcast. He was one of the original guests, or one of our early guests, way back in March of 2020, I believe. Maybe it was April. But anyway, great conversation with him. He's a great listener, great fan of the podcast. So have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Friday. But guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe.